Oh my god. And then you just suddenly can't. So this is a little bit about my journey with how I learned to do electrics and how I learned to do movement with Kazuya. As you can see here, I am moving super fucking slowly. It was super fucking painful. But before long, I was doing things like perfect electrics. But every time I was doing something like that, it was honestly a fluke. And then I was coming back to doing movement like this that just looked stiff and just movement wasn't going very well at all. You can see I'm basically in the lab. I'm practicing these basic ass combos. And then I'm in matches doing my absolute best just to get an electric in. I did get to a point where I could whiff punish with electrics pretty decently in Tekken 7. I could actually force pressure with Waivus not too badly either. And then the beta came out, and that's when I started practicing Waivu into forward movements. This I think is actually pretty important. When we went back to Tekken 7, I was somehow pulling off perfect electrics again. I think all of that electric training really was paying off. This was what my electric training actually looked like. I'm sitting here waiting for matches. I'm literally only practicing electrics. Nothing else, just electrics. Then I'm going into matches. Then I'm pulling off perfect electrics. I still at this point didn't really even know what I was doing. Whiff punishing is still kind of paying off pretty well. I'm getting lucky. I really am getting lucky, but I think it's becoming subconscious for me. And then when we got into Tekken 8, I decided to take this shit real seriously. I just practiced electrics like 24/7. Perfect electrics, see you later. Like, catch me in the lab. You know what I'm saying? I'm not practicing matchups, I'm just practicing perfect electrics. I'm getting them down pretty well, actually. I'm getting them down so well that this particular player actually thought I was using macros. I mean, if someone says that to you, in my opinion, it's actually flattery. Because your electrics are just that good that they just can't believe it. They just can't believe they've been swindled by, the best move in the game. After this point, I feel like you can get really good with kind of like setting up your electrics. So like plus frames into electrics. Obviously, if your opponent catches on, they can duck your electric and then you'll get launched. But, you want to be careful of that. But for the most part, around like medium ranks, you can set up electrics pretty well. Forward into electric. Obviously, if you're training perfect electrics, you might get lucky with a perfect electric, or you might be, that good that you can just do perfect electrics. You can begin to do things like sidestep electric as well, which that was one of the hardest things for me to learn, because you're just adding an entirely different move into your electric. It's no longer a crouch dash electric, it's actually a sidestep and then an electric. It has to be like this fluid motion. Can be tricky. And then something that I think feels the coolest is punishing with an electric, like an actual punish. So if someone does like a spring kick at you, or like a minus, whatever move, or even a 1-1-2 like that Heihachi just did on me, and you launch that with an electric, that shit is going to hit different, and that shit is going to feel so different for you, and you're going to feel like you've clocked electrics at that point, beyond perfect electrics. And then there's obviously going to be things like, heat dash into doing electrics, trying not to drop it, landing a combo from that, winning rounds from that. Like, it feels pretty cool when you do a heat dash, and then you can do electrics from it. Some people do like 7 electrics from it. I can do maybe 2 to 3. I'm not massive on doing a lot of electrics. I'm massive on doing quality electrics and trying to place them in at least a good place. Something that I think might be cooler than perfect electrics is actually high crush electrics. I don't think there's any feeling like going underneath someone's high or their jab and launching them with an electric. It really does hit different. But these really are all just levels of electrics, in my opinion, and they can all be done in different ways. The high crush electric is just such a power move, and I know that I actually thought this guy plugged. I know that it can, be very Tekken 8-ish, and it can piss a lot of people off because, oh, that's bullshit, why did that go under my move? Well, it went under your move because it's a gangster move, and electrics fucking rule. And then I learned about the heat dash electric. Apparently it's 12 frame electric, absolutely wild. There's nothing they can do about it. They can't interrupt you. Having said that, I'm not too sure about Season 2 because obviously heat dashes have been changed to... the plus frames have been completely changed, so don't quote me on this one entirely. But let me just take you back to this. This is the type of training you gotta do if you want to be good at electrics. And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone at electrics, but I am saying if there's one thing I know how to do, it's this. Be patient with yourself. Stay the course.